Hey, it's Time Out with Michael, a show where we talk about everything and anything. Super excited to have you here. I'm ready.
How you doing tonight?
How are you?
I'm just hanging out.
Sweet. We got these new mics. I'm so excited.
Hey, I just got a notification that you're live. I don't know what's going on.
We're going to work on that thing over there. Hey, welcome everybody to Time Out with Michael, and super excited to be back into the studio recording, doing my thing with the podcast, with the live, however we want to figure this out, but we are going to figure it out. Today's, whenever you're listening to this episode, is the do's and don'ts of dating. And man, this is going to be a fun one, I think, because I've been out of the dating scene for a very long time, and my good friend Josh, who's on the show with me tonight from Midlife Vibes, he's also been away from the dating scene for a very long time.
Dude, I haven't dated in.
What do you think, Josh? Are you ready for this?
I think I gotta get the number right though. I haven't dated in a long time, so it's like 24 or 25 years. I don't know, but I don't want the other half to get mad at me for not knowing the exact number. She'd be like, "What do you mean you're dating?"
I know, right? You're dating? Hold on.
I'm like, yeah. 5 years ago, I was dating. No, that ain't happening. Dude, I would be scared to get back into the dating game.
It would be rough, wouldn't it?
Well,
absolutely rough.
Yeah, you're still kind of a young buck somewhat, compared to us or myself, and a little bit older. And so, I'm going to act like I know what I'm talking about tonight, but come on, man. Really? Like, do I really know am I giving advice to a 20-year-old, or am I giving advice to somebody who's my age who has to get back into the dating game? You know what I'm saying?
Right. Exactly. And I think we're going to try to cover all of that. Again, we're going to, the point of this is to, really talk about what was long ago and what is now, because it has changed so drastically. Even long ago, it's changed from what some things. And even like I was talking to some of my coworkers today, I was like, what do you do when you date? And they're like, what? Wait a minute. What? Hold on. And so I talked to them a little bit out there. I thought that was, it was interesting to have the dialogue with those people.
First, did they say, what's going on? Are you moving out? What's wrong in your life right now that you're asking me about dating?
Oh boy, they sure did. They're like, what? Wait a minute. Is there something we don't know?
Did Carrie kick you out already?
Well, here we go. Right. So kind of how this is going to go, we're going to talk about the do's and don'ts of dating. We do a live show as well, and we will look at some of the comments on the live show as well. And then we will ask some questions and talk about some of the comments at the end of the show. So if you have some comments and some of your thoughts on the do's and don'ts of dating, throw it on the end of the show. We'll answer, we'll, save like 5-10 minutes for those, and we'll enter it there. So let's just, do's and don'ts of dating. All right. So one thing that I was always told was to have the door open for when your date got in the car. Is this still something prevalent? I mean, is that a do? Is that a don't? Do you still do that?
Well, I think if you're a 20-year-old or 22-year-old, then that might not be the way to do things anymore. But I definitely know that my other half enjoys, like, I kind of shock her every once in a while, and I open the door for her, and she's like, oh, well, wow, that's kind of nice.
Right.
And I know back in the day, that was like the gentleman thing to do. But I have heard that, I think some people will still like it, but I think some are like, I can open my own door.
Right.
So that's a tough one. Like, I'm sure there's a lot of people with everyone's got an opinion now. So I'm sure that there's some very definite opinions on if that is appropriate or not. I would still do it, because I still think that's like a sign of like, hey, let me do this for you. Let me open the door for you. A sign of respect almost,
Yeah, exactly. Holding the door. I think it goes the same thing. Like, do you hold the door open at the restaurant or the movie theater, or I mean, I think you still need to. I think that's just common courtesy. You still should do that, and don't just like open the door and go in and they follow. Like open the door for them, and if a couple other people come through, hold the door for them too.
And I think it shows a little bit about your character, and it's not about because some people say this is like a sexist type of thing, right?
Mhm.
And not to get all controversial already or anything, but I think that it's more about showing, hey, look, I care about you. I'm going to open the door for you. Let you go in first, and it's kind of almost, I don't want to say respect, but it's it's like, hey, look, this is, I care about you. I'm gonna open the door for you. You could open the door for me too. Like if I was on a date and the girl opened the door for me, I would totally walk in
Oh yeah,
because I would know in my mind she wanted to do that for me.
yeah.
It wouldn't be like, no, you go. No, I know she wanted to do that for me.
Yeah. And I think you get that when, okay, so old school says the gentleman always holds the door open, always gets the door. That's just the gentleman. Okay. I think in this day and age, if you have multiple dates and the girl holds the door open for you, take it for what it's worth. Like they're actually engaging in you saying, oh, you know what? I really, I like you. I dig you. This is me being nice to. It doesn't always have to be the guy that holds the door open. I think it can be the girl too. Old school says the gentleman should hold the door open. That's just me. That's how I was raised. But I don't think it's a bad thing if a girl holds the door open either.
No, I think it can go both ways. Now, I don't know what it feels like to have the door held open for me because Becky refuses to actually hold the door open for me. She will stand at the door until I get there and open it for her. I was like, really? They work, right? They work? No, I'm just kidding. No, but she does. She actually, I think she commented, she said, I don't open doors. She will literally, like, how you have double doors. So especially in snowy areas or whatever. So I'll open the first door. She'll go in. She will wait till I close the door, go in and open the next door. And because she's kind of old school like me, you know what I'm saying?
And again, I don't think that I think as you get into as you're dating, going through that thing, you will find out whether or not you're going to hold the door open or if you both can coexist on the door opening of that. Yeah. But again, I'm going to teach my boys, you hold the door open for the ladies.
And it'll also show, I think, a compatibility issue, even though it seems so trivial, it could show where the mindsets are that could actually say how this is going to progress in the future.
Yeah.
If you open the door for somebody and they like kind of scuff at you or like, I can get my own door. Well, if your thought process is, I'm going to open this is the gentleman thing to do, and their thought process is you're belittling me, then maybe it's not the right match already. You haven't even got it inside yet.
That's why you're dating, to see if you are compatible. What's another thing, Josh? What's a don't?
Well, I have a problem with this, and I'm sure Becky would probably agree, is don't talk about how great you are on that first date. Like, don't say how you are such a stud muffin in categories, whether they be, or, your car or whatever. Like, calm down with yourself on your first date. Be a little humble.
Oh, I think so. Yeah, I think short and sweet, right?
Michael, you don't go out there and go, look at these guns, man. I mean, I don't have guns. You have guns, but just saying.
No, I agree. I think that's a don't. Chauvinistic, is that the word? Is that, I don't know. No, probably not.
I don't know. I would say it goes both ways. So I would say for the woman too, like, I don't want to hear how wonderful you are and how beautiful you are and all that stuff. Obviously, I can see if you're a beautiful person on the inside and out, by talking with you and looking at you. I don't need you to tell me that, but it's one thing to talk about what you do for a living and your accomplishments and stuff. And then it's another thing to actually totally just brag about it and be like, I'm so awesome. Like, I did this and I did that in school and my job and I make $150K and da 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 da. No, not on the first date. They're gonna find that stuff out as you guys talk more and as you date more, if you date more.
Right. Yeah, just Don't brag. Don't brag about yourself.
Yeah, because it's funny because not even in the dating scenario, I see that in just regular life too. And if it's annoying in regular life, it's probably going to be annoying if you're on a date.
Yeah. Yeah. So remember that. Don't brag. Yeah, just
Now, don't talk bad about yourself either, but don't,
yeah, I think you got to leave. I think you got to leave a little bit to the imagination too, or let them make their own. I mean, that's why you're there. I think. I think. Again, I'm not the expert on this. Just you are.
But remember, I think dating, I'm thinking of first date, so,
Mhm.
really a lot of this pertains to the first date. Because if you get past the first date, you've probably done some things right. And you could open the book just a little, you can turn the page in the book to the next page on the next date,
Right.
and you keep getting through that book as you date more with that person. And hopefully there's not like I'm bored with this book and they close it and they're gone. You want it to be interesting all the way through, but still, you got to leave a little something.
New chapter.
Yeah.
New chapter. Luke says he can't hear it. I'm not sure.
It can't. Well,
One of the people on the live stream says they cannot hear it.
I'm thinking everybody else can because they're talking
Right.
to us. So, also it was funny because somebody said the way to a man's heart is through his stomach.
Yes.
Now, I will agree with that. That's the only reason I married my wife. No, I'm just kidding. But it is a benefit. I'm not trying to be anything crazy, but it is a benefit that she can cook.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Big time. Big time. So okay, so that brings me into my next thing. Who pays for the meal?
Oh,
This is a rough one. I went lots of different things back and forth.
I think back in the day, for sure. Well, when I was dating, I paid for the meal. That's
Right.
just something I thought was the right thing. That's just the way I was raised, I guess. And I'm there taking, in my mind, I'm there taking the girl out. I'm taking her out, And so I think that I pay for the meal because, especially back in the day, the girls usually were not asking the guys out on date. I don't know if that's the same for you, but in my case, nobody asked me out on a date. I would have to do all the asking. You know what I'm saying? Because, I don't think anybody's like, "Ooh, that's a winner. Let me go ask him out on a date." I'm fishing out there trying to find somebody above my grade to take me out to go out on a date with me. So obviously, I'm paying.
Right. Yeah. No, I think the guys got to pay. I've heard a lot of people that do half and half. So
I think it's changed over time. I think it's totally acceptable in this day and age for them to go halvesies. I think nowadays most dates are starting off as friendships, and I think halvesies is kind of the way that the young people are doing it.
right, because you don't see, you know what, something that I do see with dating and even some marriages now, they don't have some people don't have a joint or combined bank account.
That
That
shocks me every
I know
time.
it shocks me too. But some people have separate bank accounts, and like, okay. And one of our comments on our live show for that was that it said, I think whoever asked the person to go out should treat, but it's okay to pay half. Okay, so when I go out with my friends and my things, if I'm the one, like for instance, one of my coworkers, if I say, hey, let's go to lunch, I've asked. That means I'm going to do that. So in that sense, I'll pay for it. I'm the one that asked you to lunch.
Is that because you're the boss man, or
No,
is that just a
no,
dual equal friendship type situation?
I think it's just an equal friendship thing. Now on top of that too, I think when we do go out to lunch, it's just there's no like, oh, you should pay or I should pay. Well, it's your turn. Well, I paid last time. It's just you pay and you go and you do, and if you pay for it, you pay for it. If you don't, you don't. Which again, we're going off a little tangent, but I think for dating purposes, I think that the guy, again, that's you move into it and you find out what you're going to do with if you go on a second date, third date, it continues, you'll find out how you're going to pay.
So I have a question for you. would you struggle now? This is pretending that you're not, married and all that stuff. So nobody get offended here. So Michael's out on a date, and would you struggle if the bill came and she grabbed it and said, "I got this one"? Would that bother you, or are you cool with that?
If I'm on a date now, like if I was,
Yeah, like right now you are on a date. I know you would never be on a date right now, but if you were,
I don't know that.
would that would that bug you? You're in so much trouble. Um, would that like, okay, so like, knowing how, back in the day that might have bugged you, but would that bug you in this day and age if she grabs it and says, "I got it, no worries"? Would you let it happen, or would there be some pushback?
I think that, and I'm going to go off a comment that I was reading. I think if it's just a casual thing, I think if it's where we're going to lunch, we're going to coffee or something like that, something simple, I think I'm okay with that. I'd be all right with that. But if it's like extravagant, we're going out to like an elaborate dinner to like Ruth Chris or Ichiban.
Oh, don't remind me of Ichiban.
I don't think it would. I don't think it would throw me off as much now. 10 years, 15 years ago, absolutely. It would have thrown me. It would throw me off big time. I think now, just with society and the way things have gone, I think if I was on a date now and the girl's like, "Hey, I got it," I think I'd be okay with it. I think I really would.
Yeah, back in the day, I agree with you 100%. I probably would have struggled with it, and I would have probably fought for that bill.
Mm-hmm.
But nowadays, I'd be like, I hope she's paying.
Mm-hmm.
If she's gonna get all of this, she needs to be buying me dinner. No, I'm just kidding.
I agree. What if you're just going out for drinks? What if it's not a meal? How does that work?
I like the idea of buying the round, and then maybe, but it just so depends on. So there's, man, are we getting into the weeds here, or are we just like fluffing the top?
I think the weeds. I mean, this.
Okay.
I think our listeners want to know, because if they're listening to this and they're trying to figure out how the heck to date because they don't know how to date, they want the real deal.
So it really, I think, depends on where you're at in life. So if you are a big baller like Michael, and I don't know, I'm just saying, but let's say, I'm making 150K a year, right? And let's say my date, I know I'm pretending I'm younger. So I know she's a college student, or I know, or even let's say she's in her 30s or 40s or whatever. But I know in her job, she can't be making more than 50K a year. So obviously I'm making more money, right? Or even if it's vice versa, maybe I'm making less and she's making more. Hopefully she's thinking the same way I am. But I'm thinking, obviously I can splurge a little bit more than her,
Right.
or vice versa, him, whatever the case is. I don't want to be sexist here, you guys. So I would think that I would want to spoil. I mean, I have the means, so why not do it? And I wouldn't want them to feel pressured into paying for something that maybe I don't want to say can't afford, but just it's not in the budget. You know what I'm saying? But now let's say I have two doctors going on a date together, then I don't think anybody would feel bad about who's paying. You know what I'm saying?
No, I agree. I think it depends on where you're at in life, for sure. Where if you're working at the local fast food, I think you're not going to be able to,
because
on all that.
Because if I'm dating a doctor, I expect them to pay for my dinner.
Yeah,
because I know they're making a hell of a lot more money than I am.
Exactly.
But if I see somebody that's nice, caring, and hot at the local Wendy's, and I take her out on a date, then I would probably think that I'm gonna probably pay for it a little bit more because I make probably more money.
Yep, you're making more money, and I don't think we shouldn't classify those things because maybe you make a ton of. But I mean, reality says if you're working at part-time wages, you're working at a fast food business. Maybe you work at a grocery store as something like that. You're probably not making that bankroll that you need to be able to go out where you can buy multiple rounds of drinks. Maybe you can.
Yeah.
Maybe you are really good with your money, but
Yeah, maybe you're invested in stocks. I don't know, but and I'm not saying there's nothing wrong. I'm just saying for money wise, there's nothing wrong with being employed at different places. Everyone, it's just what it is. You choose where you want to work, and it's cool. It's cool. It's all cool. But I'm just thinking, whoever has the most disposable income, I want everyone to be comfortable. I don't want anybody to feel obligated to or uncomfortable. Like, oh my God, I have to buy this fool more drinks, and I'm struggling with my car payment. You know what I'm saying?
absolutely. Yeah.
So I'm just saying, if I find me a rich lady, buy me dinner.
Buy you dinner. Okay. Do you pick the person up? Do you go pick the person up? Is that still a thing?
I think it depends on how well you know them before this first date, because I would want an escape if I don't know them very well.
Yeah.
Like if someone's saying, I'm hooking you up with my friend, and I call them and we're just setting up, like we're going off a date, basically off of my friend's recommendation, and I haven't really just talked to this person, I would say, and for safety reasons too, depending on how well you know this person, I would say you would have to meet them at a well-lit location,
Yeah. Oh yeah. I agree. I think you be cautious, err on the side of caution.
Especially with online dating. Definitely meet in a public place first and drive yourself.
Yep. I think so. It's not, and back in the day, I think that was the thing. You go pick them up. Hey, I'll pick you up at 7. And I think that has changed. Just like you said, the online dating scene, if you're doing the online dating scene, absolutely, please meet in a public place. So if it's bad and it's not what you wanted, you can, like you said, jet.
Okay, I'm gonna go back like 30 years now, and I'm gonna just exact scenario. I met this girl at outdoor ed in 6th grade, right?
Mm-hmm.
Awesome, killer. People you meet at outdoor ed in 6th grade, you don't ever see them again. You're like, oh, I love you, I held your hand, and then it was funny because as a high school person, then we ended up reconnecting briefly, and I don't even remember how. I have no idea. I think I saw her at a sports game or something. It was probably right after high school. But I remember going, you know what? Why don't we meet up at this place, which gave me an out, because I had no idea who she was from 6th grade to now, I'm like, why don't we meet up at this place and we'll hang out? And I'm so glad I did that because it did not work out.
Right.
And we were able to leave without the uncomfortable drive home,
I think I still, until you get to know them, I still think it's just a smart thing. Go separately. So like you said, you can, oh, hey, well, I got a jet. See ya.
You don't know if the other person's a total creepazoid or not,
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, hopefully they're not. I mean, I would, but you never know. You really never know. A double date would probably be a good idea for something like that.
Yeah.
Maybe with a couple that
Yep. But I don't know. Is that usually double dates is like, hey, we're going to set you up with our friend. You're like, really?
No, that doesn't work, because then you feel obligated.
Yeah. Then if it doesn't work out, then you're no longer friends, and that's a whole nother episode.
Yeah. It's oh man, this is such a complex topic. I'm so glad I'm married and never have to deal with this again.
You don't have to worry about it anymore.
Yeah,
I think it is nice, because the dating scene, I think now compared to 20 years ago is rough. Absolutely. Well, there are so many tangibles. And I think there were still tangibles 20 years ago, not saying that there wasn't, but I just think that there's so much more now that you have to worry about, figure out. I mean,
Dude, imagine this. 20 years ago, I didn't have to worry about someone looking up my Instagram or Facebook profile and looking through all my stuff that I've said in my past or my pictures. But now you have to think about that stuff.
Oh yeah.
you know. And I tell you, these young people, they just post everything. They don't care.
Yeah. Do
So
whatever, right? And then you're like, well,
yeah.
wait a minute. Yep, it's all out there. It's all out there in the open. So you got to be careful what you post on your social media.
Like for work and for dating, anything. It's just and then you have pictures with you and your ex-girlfriend on there, and like you don't delete them, and then there's scrolling through your Instagram feed, like, who's this chick? And then they're looking, and then they're like, all, you never know,
Right.
or vice versa. Same thing. The dudes, us dudes, we act like we wouldn't be scrolling through their Instagram, but you single guys, you do it. You do it.
Oh yeah. Come on.
know?
If you're listening to this and you're figuring out the do's and don'ts of dating, every one of you has went to their Instagram or their Facebook or their Snapchat or their Twitter and tried to find something that is a red flag to you just in case.
Would you say, I would almost say that's not even, it wouldn't even be smart if you didn't do that.
Oh yeah.
Because why would you not utilize the resources that are there for you to look at?
Absolutely. Yeah, that would.
Yeah. I would think like, not to say like go crazy with it or anything, but just to take a peek into what this person's like a little bit,
Absolutely. Be a good listener, right? On your date.
Oh, well, that's good. I keep my mouth. You would be surprised, but I could actually keep my mouth shut and just listen.
I know this. When we went on our first date, Josh, it was like you were very quiet.
I'm kind of an introvert actually, which is really weird, but listen to the other one. But what okay, so Michael, what if both people take that advice and just want to listen?
Oh,
who does the talking? Who's talking?
Oh man.
You're like this.
just silent.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, go ahead. Talk.
I think you almost need to have a talker and a listener. I'm the listener.
Yeah.
Michael, I would probably say you're the talker.
I'm the talker. You'd be surprised. It takes a minute to get me out of the thing. I think on our first meeting, I think Carrie and Becky did most of the talking, and we just kind of, had a
drink.
Yep. That was it. But I think be a good listener. And I think when you're on a date, listen. Actually hear the person. Don't just sit there and act like you're listening. Hear the person.
Yeah. Well, yeah, because you're exploring on that time. You're like trying to figure out, is this somebody you want to date more or that you want to have a future with? So you should be hearing what they're saying, listening and taking in what they're saying. So I think there's too much distractions, and this kind of goes with this is, while they're talking, don't be sitting there on your cell phone, on social media or whatever, acting like you're listening, but you're really looking at your phone,
Oh, yeah, exactly. Don't do that. Please don't do that.
You should almost probably have your phone in your pocket, I would say.
Yeah.
If you're, especially on a first date, like the attention should be on you two and talking, because if you guys can't talk, then there might be a compatibility issue right there.
Oh yeah.
And
we're in a different world. I did a psychology paper 10 years ago, and I did the psychology paper on the communication between everybody. And if you 10, 12 years ago, you could go into a bar and you could not hear anything. Everything was just chatter, talk. And now it's so quiet because everybody's on their phone. I watched a whole group sit at a table for probably 20 minutes, and all they did was chit chat on their phone. I don't know if they were necessarily talking to other people or looking at social media, but they just didn't talk. Like you could instead of screaming across the bar, you could say, "Hey, what's up, Josh? How are you?" Just right across. I mean, no, it was so weird. So I think that's a huge thing. Put your cell phone away and do that when when you're on the first date, because you got to engage. Because, like you said, if you don't have that communication, then you're going to struggle through the years if that's what it comes to.
And I think too, don't try to force that chemistry, because if it's not there, it's not there.
Yeah.
And I think too many people try to make it happen.
Yeah.
Because they want it to work so bad, and so they try to make it happen. And it's like, you can't change the other person,
Right.
If it's there, it's there. If it's not, it's not. You got to move on.
Yep. Nope. I agree. Don't change it. So when we're talking about do's and don'ts of dating, when you go out on a date, what are you doing? Are you going to go to dinner? Are you going to go to a movie? Are you going out for drinks? Are you going hiking?
Well, oh man,
What's your first choice? If you have a first choice to go to right now, Josh, and you were going to go on a date, and you saw this girl at Popeyes, and you're like, man, you are smoking. I want to take you on a date.
I'm taking her to Popeyes.
Popeyes, right?
The menu. Get the best thing we have here. No, for me, I think it's going to a restaurant.
Going to a restaurant?
I think because that's more of a one-on-one situation, where that's where I'm really going to get to know the person, because I'm sitting at a table, probably across from them, because it's the first date. They're not sitting next to me, So we're looking at each other. We're making eye contact. We're going to have a few cocktails. We're going to, or maybe we're not. That'll tell me something if I'm compatible or not, but we're going to talk. I mean, we have to talk. We're sitting there, and if we're sitting there on our phones, then I know, okay, this isn't working out. Or if there's just a lot of dead time in us staring at each other, either we're madly, deeply in love with each other already, and we're just lost in each other's eyes, which probably didn't happen, or we have nothing to talk about. And that's how I know it's not going to work out. Because I feel like if I go on a hike, or if I go do something that's an activity, I can be distracted from the conversation and from the person. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
I could be involved with the other thing, which then takes away from me actually getting to know the person, because I'm involved with the other thing that we're doing. We're bowling or we're whatever. Well, I get away from that person because I have to go bowl every other, we have to take turns bowling. So I don't necessarily have to have a huge conversation with that person.
So would you say that maybe bowling or hiking or something like that, sort of a go-karts, Disneyland, that would probably be more of a second or third date?
Yes, I agree. Unless you met this person online dating and you both have this huge interest in Disney, and so you both have annual passes, and so you go to Disneyland because that's something you both love to do.
Mm-hmm.
And that would become the talking point, because you're going to be talking and walking together. But if you don't really know the person, and it's kind of this situation where you don't know a lot about the person, and you're just kind of deciding what you need to do, then yeah, I think there could be a lot of things that can distract from making it, whether not letting you know whether it was successful or not.
Yeah. I think that you hit it spot on with the dinner, or even one of our comments on the live show was a coffee shop.
Yeah,
that's how Carrie and I first met. Was the coffee shop, but the wrong coffee shops.
Yeah, right. You guys are on opposite sides of the street.
Yeah, that was.
I think that I agree, because it's not too much out of pocket, not to bring finances into it, but it's not, you're not making this huge investment when you don't even know if it's going to work out. You're not taking to some $100 steak dinner or something. And a coffee shop's a great place because you're going to enjoy a cup of coffee. You're going to talk, and if they don't like coffee, then obviously they're out already.
Oh yeah, exactly.
If they say, I don't drink coffee, you say, well, then we don't even need to go on the date. Thank you very much.
Yep. I agree. That's just a nix. Now, again, I didn't grow up a coffee person. I did, but I did a different thing. It was called coffee milk. And my grandma used to put like loads of sugar, spoonfuls of sugar in the thing, and she put a little bit of coffee in and then dump milk in it. It's more like a frappuccino. That's really what I think it was. She called it coffee milk, so that was my coffee. And my parents really didn't drink coffee all that much. I go through spurts where I enjoy a cup of coffee every morning, sometimes two. At night, I'll have a decaf. It's just something. And then unfortunately, there are times where it's like I don't drink coffee for a couple days. Of course,
It's funny.
Privileged to the beverage world, so I
Yeah.
have lots at my disposal.
It's funny. I didn't drink coffee when I met Becky. Like, I didn't drink coffee at all. I drank coffee in high school because it was cool to go at the coffee shop, and we didn't have Starbucks back then. But you'd go out and get your coffee black, and you'd be like, I'm drinking coffee, and we're at the coffee bar. And then I just didn't drink coffee. Probably, I don't know, Becky, what was it, like 10 years into our marriage? I tried Starbucks, and then I started drinking Starbucks coffee more than she did. And she's like, what happened? So I can't say that the coffee thing is like, I was just joking when I say you don't, if she doesn't drink coffee, don't date her, but because I didn't drink coffee. But I'm just saying compatibility, if coffee is a big part of your life, you might want somebody who drinks coffee so you can enjoy it with them.
Right. I agree.
If you go deer hunting, you might want a deer hunter.
Deer hunter. Exactly. There you go. I like it. So we're going to take this part of the show to thank our sponsor, Simply Splendid Creations. They are out of Evanston, Wyoming. They do cakes, they do donuts, they do cheesecakes. Right now, during the holiday season, they are doing the hot chocolate bombs, the old so ever popular hot cocoa bombs. Not mentioning where those are going, but if you jump on to the Facebook page, Simply Splendid Creations, you can put in your order. She will get it ready to go. Super awesome, super reasonable prices, and they are delicious. They are delicious.
So do I need to go back to Evanston to get a donut?
Oh, man.
I love me a good donut.
She does so many donuts. It's really cool. She does filled donuts, glazed donuts. She does holiday donuts, so like the pumpkin spice donuts, custard donuts. Oh yeah, fruit filled donuts.
I haven't had a donut in a long time.
Oh, I know it's been a minute, and I have the hookup. I'm not going to say how, why, or whatever, but it is a cool hookup. But yeah, I do have the hookup. They're sponsoring. So thank you so much. If we didn't have the sponsor, it would be hard to do the show, and we appreciate that. So today's episode is brought to you by Simply Splendid Creations. Check her out on Facebook and support her small business here in Evanston, Wyoming. I think she ships all around the world too. I'm sure she would.
I was just going to ask, does she ship? Like, because I'm not in Evanston, Wyoming, so
I think she does. I'm pretty sure she would make or find a way to get that done.
My worry, and not really such a worry, is that if I did get the hot chocolate bomb, hot cocoa bomb, that I might mistake it and put it in my bath with me, but I'd probably taste really good.
You would taste. I'll leave that to your wife.
Sorry, I just couldn't resist.
No, it was good. It was good. So moving forward with the thing, when does the physical stuff come in? Does the physical stuff?
Oh my God. You went there.
Hold the hand, touch the shoulder.
Okay, that's all okay.
Run your hand on their hair.
I think you could even hold the hand the first date, no problem.
Okay.
I mean, I'm a little old school, so I mean, I'm thinking the good night kiss is good as long as you feel that you're going to the second date. If you don't feel you're going to the second date, you better not kiss them. That's all I'm saying.
Okay. All right. I think so. I'm in agreement there.
I mean, there's no obligation here. Don't be like kissing to get rid of them. Just, say goodbye. Bye.
Now, is this like one of those Alex Hitchens, the movie Hitch, like 60-40, 70-30? You go, she goes. Are we in a new age now? I mean,
well, I'd probably fall forward and act like, oh, I fell.
How was your
ducks and weaves?
How was your first kiss with Becky? How'd that work?
Oh, I can't talk about that. That's you don't want to know. It involved Bolingo. Do you know Bolingo? It's like bowling with strings on the pins. It's like a little miniature wooden ball.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna wait for Becky to give me permission. Otherwise, I've got talking about that.
I think I kind of heard that in a little. Well, I know. I don't know. I mean, first kisses are, you see the movies and I think some of the first kisses are kind of magical. They happen at a good time, good point. Some of them are awkward.
Well, I think you don't. You got to take the cues, right? And unfortunately, us guys, a lot of us, we don't know the cues.
Oh, we don't.
We can't figure them out. Like if the girl's moving backwards a little bit, that's a cue to stop. But like,
don't keep going. That's not, hey, chase me.
Yeah, it doesn't mean you went the 70%. I moved back, so it doesn't mean you go 50% more to try to catch me. The math doesn't add up. It means let's say goodnight is what it means.
Yep.
Don't make it awkward. Unfortunately, a lot of guys just don't even realize it.
I'm trying to think of like some of my younger days, like 4th, 5th, and 6th, grade.
Well, that's pretty young, Michael.
Yeah. So you're going to like, okay, so you went to the movie and you're like, they're sitting next to you and you put your hand on their leg, first base. And then maybe you go to hold their hand and then like you hold the hand for like what? An hour in the movie. And then like you take your hand away and it's sweaty and a mess. And like, what was I doing that for? It's awkward. And
that's so bad.
But I think, and this is just me thinking about, maybe I watched way too many movies too, but you think about like you go out on a date or you go chase your girlfriend or whatever, or a girl you like, and you're like, hey, let's meet up at the park, or like when you're young and you go meet at the park and your mom or your dad or your parents give you what? An hour time limit. So for 55 minutes, you're the most awkward person in the world. And for the last 5 minutes, now you're trying to put everything in, kiss her, grab her butt, and
you just said it.
Butt. I know, but you do all of those things come within like 5 minutes, the last 5 minutes. And then I think back to, okay, as I get older and older, it kind of was the same thing, except the time was extended. I had like 4 hours to do something, and it was like within the last 30 minutes.
You still waited the last moment to do everything you could. And then you're 5 minutes later, you're like, goodbye.
Yeah. And you're like, man, I should have just hugged her and kissed her in the first hour.
Here's what I think. I think if she's still there after 4 hours, make the dang move already, because she's still there. Because if you went to dinner, if she was not happy after dinner, she would have left, right?
Right.
So you go to dinner and then you say, hey, let's go over to the bar and have a few drinks. If she goes there with you, she is digging you at that moment. I'm assuming. Don't, right. You can never assume,
Back to the girls too, like same thing. Like if you're on a date and you're like, hey, I'm going to go to the bar or and go do this, and the guy follows you, same thing.
Yeah. And I'm saying, because I'm a guy, so I'm just saying it from the guy's point of view, but yeah, it goes both ways. Trust me, if I didn't dig a chick, I would be like, oh, you know what? I got to work early tomorrow. So, let me just, I'll call you, blah, blah, blah. If that happens, no, you're out. You're done. You're done. If they want to end it early, you're done. Don't even try anymore. Stop. Just give up, go home, put your head between your legs, and just the walk of shame, go home.
Right.
But if they say, hey, let's go get a drink, and the other person says, oh, I'm down, let's go. You're in. They dig you. Because why would they bring you along longer if they didn't dig you?
No, I agree. So you take the signs. Take the signs.
Make the move. Don't stop not making the move. Make the move at that point.
I'm sorry, I would still be that awkward idiot that would not make the move.
I am that awkward. Well,
I
I
know.
was that awkward. I can't say I am. Oh, okay, I'm gonna get hit now. But I was that awkward idiot, that I could never take the sign,
And then I know that for those of you that know me, they're like, whatever. Seriously, I was not that guy that knew the sign. It was not. I didn't figure it out for a long time.
I wasn't as confident as I maybe come across sometimes, back then.
Right.
I think by the time I met my wife, I was a confident individual, though. I think by then, I mean, she would have to chime in and say yes or no. But I think by then I was like, you know what? I'm one good looking guy and the chicks dig me.
Okay. So
Even though they probably didn't, that's just what I thought.
Right. Chicks dig me. I thought the same thing. I still think the same thing. I think my wife digs me.
Dude, I think I'm so hot. And then my wife checks me and just puts me into reality.
Mm-hmm. Yep. I agree. Okay. So does there have to be a move made on the first date?
There doesn't have to be. I don't think there has to be. Here's what I take that back. If you don't kiss on the first date, I think that's a sign.
Okay.
I could be totally wrong, but that's just me.
That's you. You would say, I think we'll leave that question to the end.
You know what I'm saying?
If you got to make a move on the first date. I don't know.
I think that you got to go for the kiss on the first date. But if they move away, does that mean they're not interested? Or do you think they just need more time?
I think maybe it's just me, but I think that when you're going on a date, the ultimate thing is to get compatibility, is to find that right? You're wanting to be compatible with this person. You're hoping that the spark flies. You're hoping that everything connects, and you want to give them a kiss at the end of the night. And maybe that's just a guy's perspective.
Yeah.
Maybe that's just a guy. I don't know.
It's tough because we're just two guys sitting here talking from a guy's point of view, obviously. That's just my point of view, because obviously if I go in for the kiss, if she kisses me, then in my mind, she is interested in me, right?
Right.
I mean, and if she doesn't, or if she turns or moves or goes to the cheek move, is that a thing still, the cheek move? Or mouth closed and I'm out,
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I mean, we're all adults here. You know what I'm saying? That means, okay, I didn't want this to go farther in my mind.
Right.
Now, maybe a girl thinks, well, I don't want to come across too, open, but I think, come on, a kiss is a kiss. I mean, we're not getting crazy here, right?
We're not going to third base and home runs.
We have a miniature golf course called Camelot, and we used to call it Scamalot when we were younger. We're not going over there, we're going on a date. Actually, that's where I took some dates. Never mind.
I took dates to Aladdin's castle.
How long has it been since I've used the term scam? And that
yesterday.
And that reference
with Becky and scam yesterday.
Oh my goodness. We're scamming all the time.
I'm in trouble.
Oh, she's gonna kill me now.
Mm-hmm. Okay. You've gone on a couple dates, you've done things, it's good. When do you know it's time to say the big words?
Oh, no. See, okay, here's the problem. I'm probably the one to say it first. I didn't want to admit that.
I think me too.
I don't remember if I said it first to Becky. I'm pretty sure she told me first because she wanted to catch me. I'm just kidding when I say that.
And maybe okay, this is again, things have changed over the years. I still don't think a lot of guys are in touch with their feelings, which is why I think they say I love you first.
Because they're not in touch with their feelings.
I think it's because they're afraid if they don't say it that oh well, he doesn't have feelings. He doesn't care. Maybe I'm wrong.
Or do they say it and not mean it?
Yeah.
Is that what you're saying? Like, do they say it because they don't want her to walk away?
I think a little bit of that. I just think that like I don't know how to explain that.
Yeah, it's a weird thing. I don't think you say it unless you truly mean it. I'm not one to give emotion unless I mean it. That's just me though.
And I think that's where I think that's why I think because girls are they're more emotional than guys. Not a bad thing. It's just the way they're made up.
No, not Becky.
Becky's not emotional.
No, I agree with your statement, but yeah, I think some people have their guard up.
No, yeah, I think they do. Yeah.
You know, it's such a weird thing because I'll be honest with you, and this is part of my thing is I believe if you want a relationship to truly work, you have to be honest with each other. And if you're saying I love you because you feel obligated, then there's already something wrong with that relationship.
Yeah. No. Yep. I agree.
You know, but it is awkward because really you should know on the inside, because you're really only going to say it if you know that they love you too. And you're saying I love you because you know that they're going to say it back because you are in love with each other. And if you don't know that, then why would you say it? Like, because then you might be totally completely head over heels in love with that person, but would you want to show those feelings if you don't know if they're reciprocated?
I don't think you do. I think you got to. I think the thought process behind this is figure that out. Don't just, hey, I love you, and on the other side, it's not reciprocated. You should know that. Don't fool yourself.
I think some people just say it to say it, and I think that's wrong. I think you got to mean it if you're going to say it. Words have meaning. Words have what's the word I'm looking for? I'm a loss for words. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Get it?
I know where you're going with that. Like,
they have weight. Words have weight, you know? So you can't say something you don't mean because the other person is going to take it like, oh, they love me.
Mm-hmm.
And if you don't mean it, you know, and unfortunately, there's probably people out there who do it for nefarious causes, you know, or reasons.
That was a big word.
Was it?
Yeah, I think so. I'm from Wyoming. I don't.
You know,
I'm just kidding.
I'm a sesquipedalian, just so you know.
Whoa! Whoa!
Yeah, you'll have to look up that word.
I'm gonna have to. You're exactly right.
Yeah. There's a plethora of things going on in my head.
Plethora of things. Lastly, I think, you know, you touched on this. I think that you were exactly correct on this. During your date, when you're dating, something I think that you need to do is be honest.
Yeah.
Lie, right?
Yeah.
And what I mean, you know, we talked about it earlier in the show where you don't want to tell everybody, say everything. Again, there's a lot of things that you hold back because you want to impress the person. You want to make them like you, but they're going to like you because of you. You can't change them down the road. If there's, you know, you like them, there's a reason you were attracted to them. There's a reason that you wanted to go on a date or continue the dating scene. But I think you have to be honest and not lie. And one thing that was very hard for me was being making myself look good. and I did all these things in the beginning of the relationship, and I was a very bad liar. And I was called out on it, and I was like, man, I guess I do. And not necessarily, there was things that I would, well, I'm going over here, I'm going to play Frisbee golf, when I really was not playing Frisbee golf. I was at the shop, I was working. It wasn't a bad thing, but why was I saying that? And
why?
it was bad. Yeah. Again, I had to work on it.
Yeah.
And so I think you just, be honest about things. If there's things that you have to be honest about, be honest about them, about yourself, about how you are, because I think that also shows the person that, you're genuine, you're honest, and they don't have to worry about things later on in the relationship. If you're honest about something and you feel like they might not like that about you, you're going to know right off the bat. But again, I think they like you for certain reasons. And I think a lot of times if you're honest about something, they might look past that downfall or that.
It won't really matter for them.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? It's like, what? Because if you're selling something that's not true, it's like you're selling a car that that doesn't work good. Do you think that person's ever going to come back and buy another car from you when their car breaks down a week later?
Mm-hmm.
No. So the same thing, like you got to be you, and they have to like you for you, because in the long run, it's not going to work if they don't like you for you.
Absolutely.
You can sell them a bill of goods and you're like, hey, look at how great this is. But then when they get into that, they're going to be like, oh, that's not what they sold me.
Right.
I'm out, So if you want it for the short term, okay, go for it. But if you're looking for a relationship in the long term, maybe marriage or whatever, you got to be honest, otherwise it's not, it'll never work. If you're not, it just won't.
Right.
And I think too many people they're probably lying to themselves first before they're lying to the other person,
Right. Exactly. One of the comments on the show was, don't be honest, but don't tell your whole life story in one setting. Exactly.
Yeah. I mean, definitely you want them to, there's no need to say, well, I'm a crappy golfer and I don't know how to cook, and I fart at night, and you don't tell that person at the first date. Let them learn about you, because guess what? They probably fart at night too, but they're not telling you.
Right.
Everybody does. It's okay, but right. It's not something you bring up. But don't exaggerate your pluses.
Yeah, exactly. Did you see any comments, or are you able to see the comments?
Yes, I am.
So on this part of the show, as of course, for those of you listening, we're going to look at some of the live comments that we've had from some of our live guests. Thank you very much for watching the show. If you were here on live, here's one. As long as it's natural and progressing, why does it have to be a timeline? So this is one of our comments from one of our guests on the live show. I think you're exactly right.
Yeah, I don't think there has to be a timeline. I mean, I know we were talking about, kiss on the first date and stuff, but if it feels natural and it doesn't happen that way, like if you're at the coffee shop, I understand maybe there's not a kiss on the first date, but let me tell you, if you're out at the restaurant and you go to the bar afterwards, that might be a different signal to say, maybe we're going to kiss on the first date. But if you're at a lunch date and you're at the coffee shop during lunchtime, maybe you're not making out after the first date. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
But you might get along. So then that might progress to a second date, which might be an evening date, which might include something like that.
Right. Exactly.
Man, I should be a love therapist.
Yes, you should.
I'm just kidding.
Josh is the love doctor. I think it's fun when you can do that with the. Can you give me a close up, Mike?
We're gonna join Josh on Love Line at midnight.
Oh, that's so great. That's so great.
If you want to join me for some sexy time.
No, I'm just kidding.
Oh, do you remember that one show on USA, Up All Night with Rhonda Shear? No,
I do not, but I guess you do.
I sure remember that. You used to watch movies on USA, and there was a blonde girl, and she'd be like, "Up all night with Rhonda."
Yeah, and I have to say there was somebody in the chat that said that they would not want the kiss on the first date. Maybe I came off wrong when I said that I think that should happen. Like I just said right now, I think it depends on the scenario and the situation and the time and everything on whether that happens. You know what I'm saying?
I think you'll know. I think and yeah, you'll know. Pick up on the vibes, even though I didn't.
I just assumed people wanted a kiss from me on the first date. That's just what I assumed. But no, I'm just kidding.
If it's a coffee shop thing, I think again, they're the same thing. Coffee shop thing, probably not going to be a kiss, right? Maybe.
It could, but it might not be as in depth or long of a kiss as it would be at the end of a night date. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know. I think that ultimately, your comment about being honest with people is definitely, or that's the winner right there. Because I think too many people oversell and underdeliver, in the dating world and in the real world too. But you got to sell them what you are, what you have, and that's it. If they like it, they like it. If they like the bill of goods, they'll buy the bill of goods.
I think if you try to oversell it, then you're going to spend the rest of your relationship trying to oversell, and then when you can't sell that, you fall flat on your face, and then where do you go? Then where are you at?
Yeah,
I think that's the hard thing right there.
Yeah, we didn't talk about this, but you have to be willing to accept the fact that some people are not going to like you.
Yeah.
They're not going to be compatible with you. It's okay. Let it go. Don't be hurt. Move on. Don't dwell on it. You know what I'm saying? Right. I think too many people nowadays, they dwell on it. Like, what did I do wrong? What could I have said? If you were being yourself, you said everything correct. The person's just not compatible with you,
Look, Josh, I went on a date with a huge supermodel. Okay. I'm not going to name names on here because I don't want to put that out there.
I would expect that from you. Have you seen your wife?
We were not compatible.
She's a supermodel.
And I beat myself up about it for days. Like, why did she not like me? She is a billionaire movie star, and we just weren't compatible. And I beat myself up about it for days, weeks.
But it's, you like, I think in your mind, you wanted it to happen.
Right.
You're like, I'm the stud. We should have been, it's a match made in heaven, but really it's not.
It was. It was, Josh.
It was for part of you.
No, from
the lower part.
All of this, Josh, all of it was perfect. Okay. It was, I did nothing wrong. She has missed out on many wonderful years of this.
Okay. But you weren't compatible. You weren't compatible. You got to move on. You know what I'm saying?
Right. No, it just, and again, don't dwell on it. If it doesn't work out, move on. Yeah. Just don't try to beat that into the ground. Just move on.
It's like trying to put a circle through a square. It doesn't work.
Right.
Sometimes people try to force this dating thing and like, no, it's going to work. It fits.
It does.
It's a match made in heaven, and it's not,
Right.
It's not. So, speaking of that, I am now a firm believer of online dating, even though I don't do it. I'm just saying I'm a believer of online dating. How do you feel about that? Because when I say that, a lot of people look at me like I'm nuts. Imagine, okay, I'm going to sell you. I'm going to sell you on this.
Sell me on it.
Okay. You get to put into a computer. Now, this goes back to the honesty thing. You have to be honest. If you honestly put your interests, your likes, your bad things that are part of you, if you honestly describe yourself and put the things that you like and dislike in there, like 100% honest, and the other person does the same, do you not think the computer algorithm will match you with somebody that is like you?
I agree with that 100%.
Will it not take out all that wasted time of trying to date people who are not compatible with you? If you're honest, there is a flaw to this theory, because if they're not honest, then you're screwed. But if you're honest, I think it'll be much more, I'm all about efficiency. It'll be much more efficient for you in finding someone that's going to love you for the rest of your life, because you have the same interests, the same dislikes, you are compatible. And I'll tell you, computers don't look at faces. They don't look at body type. They don't look at feet size. They have an algorithm that puts that two likes and dislikes together and say, this is the most compatible person for you.
Hot or not?
Does not matter.
No, that was a website. Hot or not.
Okay. Well,
I think it's still out there.
You know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
I'm just saying, I think that people think it used to be taboo. Like, oh, you're going to go online dating? Really?
But I think with the good thing about this online dating, because one of our comments on there was, yeah, that's what I'm going to say if they're honest though. Okay, so if they're not honest and you go on that, you get to that date. Okay, so hey, let's meet up at Starbucks, Beans and Brews, whatever, Dutch Brothers, and we're gonna go have a coffee. And you get there, and one of the things that they said was, I'm 5'2", and they show up 6'5".
Obviously, you're out. You don't waste your time anymore. You're gone.
Later. I don't even have to worry about this.
No, you say goodbye.
Yeah,
because first of all, you didn't put the right description, and so you're not a good person.
Yeah,
and that's my thought. If you don't put the right description, you're not a good person.
Right.
You're lying. You're lying to yourself, so that means you're going to lie to me. You don't have you're gone. But you have to be able to walk away from that real quick. But it depends on are you going on Tinder to try to find a lifelong mate? You better not be. Swipe right, swipe left. I don't even know which is which, but either way, that's not where you're going to find a mate. But if you go on one of these sites where people are truly trying to find their soulmate, you might find it. I've seen people have success on it.
Yeah.
And they are perfect for each other. Perfect. Yep.
It works out.
I mean, because you'll find too, if somebody's going to pay money for something, they're probably going to be more honest than if it's for free.
Right. Exactly.
Why would you lie and pay money over and over and over again to make the same mistake? Most of the time, you're probably not.
Yeah.
It sounds kind of weird. Like, I'm going to pay money to do dating stuff, but I think that you're not going to want to waste your money, right? At least I'm not.
Yeah. I'd have paid a lot of money to get my wife. It took forever.
See, we got lucky. We didn't have to do any of that stuff, and before online dating and stuff like that, we found our match. And the time proves that we found our match.
Right.
And we're deeply in love, and we don't have to worry about this. But I'll be honest with you. Let's say my wife said, I hate your guts tomorrow and I'm leaving you, which I know she wouldn't, but if she did, you know what I would do? If I wanted to get into a relationship, I'll be very honest with you here. I would totally do the online thing.
Yeah.
Totally do it. Because I don't know. I wouldn't know what else to do. Honestly, I don't even know how would I date? Where would I meet a woman? I would have no idea.
Refer back to this segment and follow all the do's and don'ts. Just kidding.
Right?
That's
right.
What I want to do, right?
But where would I find a woman? I wouldn't even know.
Right? Not some girly girl.
No, yeah. Where do you? I would have no idea.
Coachella. You can go find a Coachella.
I would think online would be the way to go.
I like the comments. It's funny. Yeah.
Tinder's a good source for stand-up material.
It sure is. Okay, so hey, can I bring you on next week again? Next week, or are you busy?
I will double check, but I'm pretty sure I'm available.
Okay, so I want to do so for those of you listening, we did do's and don'ts of dating. And this again is like raw, uncut dating, like we're gonna go on a new date.
I am from Coachella,
So
Mike.
now
Becky says she's from
Mike,
Coachella.
I am from Coachella.
I know.
He knows.
Anyway, I would like to do a second segment of how you date your spouse.
Oh, I'm bad at that.
No, you're not. No, you're not.
Yeah.
I think that would be fun because now, we've talked about the do's and don'ts of dating, first date, how you do a date, how you go on dates. Maybe it's helped, maybe it hasn't. Think about this when you've listened to this episode. Like, think about like what would you do, what would you not do? Throw it in the comments. Talk about it. Message us. Let us know. And then next week we're going to talk about dating your spouse. What do you do now? Like, how do you date your spouse? You take her out on a date. You call her and say, "Hey, I'll pick you up at 7." You can't really do that, right? I've tried that a couple times. It doesn't work.
How does she date me?
Yeah. Does she kiss you on the date? Does she pay for the date? Do you guys just
Come on. I can't even answer that. We'll save it for next week, but I'll tell you about the pay-in.
I know, right? Yeah. Yeah. 50-50. Sure. Right. Well, it's been fun. I appreciate everybody listening to this episode. It's been fun coming back. I appreciate all the listeners. I appreciate all the subscribers. Thanks for joining. If you like the show, tell your friends, share it, subscribe to it, and let's get it out there. We are on Spotify. We are on Google Podcasts. We're on Apple Podcasts. We're on iHeartRadio and everything in between. You can like us on Facebook. You can like us on Instagram, and you can subscribe on YouTube. However you do it, whatever you do, go out there. Time Out with Michael. Again, I appreciate everybody. We want to thank Simply Splendid Creations for sponsoring the episode. Thanks so much, Josh, for jumping on and engaging in do's and don'ts of dating.
Anytime.
So with that being said, see ya.
Peace.
Yeah.
Don't screw up the date.
Don't do it. It's not ending. This is the technical difficulties. I need somebody to do